Hi, welcome to the first in a series of videos looking at the PlayStation VR's launch lineup. This is also the first of my 5-minute review videos, which, as the name might suggest, are a series of videos looking at games in 5 minutes or fewer. Enjoy!
You've been hit!
Where did that come from?
Hold it steady, Bess! Hold it steady!
Games like Rez and Thumper were at the forefront of my mind when buying PlayStation VR. Immersive experiences with a focus on literally sensational gameplay. That is, games designed to stimulate the senses. And VR did exactly what I hoped for with these games, heightening what were already overwhelming audiovisual experiences. Games like Wayward Sky were not what I was thinking of. A basic point-and-click adventure, gentle of pace and simple of puzzle, with an attractive but relatively plain art style, it didn't scream immersive VR experience to me. Still, I do enjoy adventure games, and Wayward Sky is one of the games to feature on the PlayStation VR's bundled demo disc, so I was happy to give it a try, even if I didn't expect the game to be a real showcase for the system. And I swiftly discovered how wrong I'd been. Wayward Sky is exactly as I already described, a simple point-and-click adventure. At no point does the game beat you over the head with impressive VR tricks, no attempts to overwhelm you with sensations, no positional tricks to scream, "Hey, you're in VR!" Instead, it just quietly wraps you in its world, encouraging you to take it in two different, equally delightful ways. First, from a third-person perspective, you feel like a child at play. Bess and the other actors and objects in the world are all scaled like toys, the simple art style helping that impression, encouraging you to consider the game as a playset. And what a playset! A glance reveals that while the parts may be scaled like toys, the world itself is expansive, as though you've been given the keys to the world's largest dollhouse. It's a delight to simply stand and turn, to peer your way around the landscape, exploring it bodily. And then, as you process this idea of the game as a playset, as you've grown comfortable looking around the world as a giant, you find yourself whisked down to Bess's level, interacting with the world on its own terms. Suddenly you find yourself looking at these characters and environments from an altogether different perspective, and it's a glorious sensation, like watching Toy Story for the first time, only this time you aren't merely watching the toys, you are one of the toys. The tactile pleasure of the interface elevates even the most simple actions you can perform, pulling levers, turning wheels, and there is quiet pleasure in raising a fist of defiance to a menacing enemy and having it reflected in game. Meanwhile, the basic puzzles you face are rendered a pleasure by the intimate sensation of manoeuvring yourself around to look over them, figuring out what to do by literally walking around, by leaning and kneeling to get a better perspective on things. Indeed, Wayward Sky's controls are pretty much ideal for VR newcomers. The controls are entirely based around pointing and clicking, either with a Move controller or with your DualShock, while the camera itself being based entirely on teleportation, that is to say jumping between different camera places with no actual smooth motion, means it doesn't trigger any of the motion sickness that some games can. It's an absolutely perfect choice for people who just started with VR and want to get the hang of things before they jump in at the deep end. It's a fact that Wayward Sky, were it not a VR game, wouldn't really stand out. It's a perfectly adequate point-and-click adventure, but that's effectively all it is. It's made up of relatively simple puzzles, the story is reasonably lightweight, and compared to luminaries of the genre, it just wouldn't stand out. However, it isn't a non-VR title, and the amount that VR adds to it can't be overstated. What would be a charming, brief little point-and-click adventure is made so much more evocative and experienced through the integration of VR, and even though it is only a few hours long, I was more than happy to have spent £15 on Wayward Sky. In short, Wayward Sky is a lovely game, well worth your attention, and it fills me with hope for the potential of VR. I can't wait to see what it can bring to other adventures, to other types of game I would initially have written off as getting no real benefit from a VR headset. It's a quality that really can't be demonstrated in video form. You have to be directing the actions, experiencing the world yourself to appreciate just what a difference presence can make to so unassuming a game. If you haven't already, give the demo of Wayward Sky a try. It might not be as immediately impressive as something like Rez, as obviously benefiting from the immersive qualities of VR as Batman, but it's as convincing a demonstration of the merits of VR as any I've encountered. A very pleasant surprise indeed. And that's a wrap with over 20 seconds to spare. Not too bad going. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Next video we'll be taking a look at a game that wasn't actually initially designed for PlayStation VR but was patched at launch to suit it. That game is Bound, and you'll get to find out whether it's any good next time round. See you then.